Hi everybody and welcome to the DABBLEDOO podcast. Every month we will be talking about different themes and giving teachers different tips to use in the classroom. We hope you enjoy the show. Okay, so welcome back. It is 2025. Feels weird saying it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird. I haven't had to write it much yet, so
yeah.
I'm not really in the habit of it. But look, here, we're embracing it. We're here. It's January. We're in the new year. How are you feeling, Maureen?
Great.
Yeah, good.
New year, new me.
As
the old adage goes.
I'm like, new year, same old me. I'm like, I try not to buy into all of that new year, new me thing too much. Like there's ways that you can do it, obviously, and then there's ways that are just like a little bit toxic, you know, and there is a little bit of that online. It's like everyone's out running, online, offline.
Oh no, I haven't started running.
No. I mean, like, you have to ease into these things, right?
Yeah. I think ease into the new year, ease into any new habits you want to create in all kind of areas of your life as well.
Yeah, like you can't just go on a diet, start a marathon, training for triathlon, and like, you know, read 25 books in a month in January. You know?
Yeah, that's it's a bit much.
Yeah, it is a bit much.
You kind of take it in like blocks, you know?
Yeah.
Like, for the first 6 months of the year, I might try this.
Yeah.
Or I always find like it's easier to think shorter term.
Yeah.
And, just in January, I'm going to do my best.
That is so great. I love it. We're just going to do our best for January.
Do our best.
Get through it. Take every day as it comes. And I think that's really important for teachers as well in the classroom. Like, take every day as it comes.
Oh, yeah.
It might even be every minute, because I'm sure the kids are going to be a little bit wired coming back after Christmas.
A little bit tired as well.
Tired, wired,
it's a
spoiled.
busy month for them. They've just come out of like Christmas, or if they're not celebrating Christmas, it's there's normally a big celebration that time of year, so they're a little bit exhausted. And January is always the harder one. It's like the longest month in teaching, because unlike say November and Christmas, you have that kind of lead up to like or November, December, you have that lead up to Christmas. So yes, the days are shorter and colder, but there's nice lights everywhere and the kids are seeing Santa and all the Christmas ads. It's all very exciting. And then January is just kind of cold and dark and it rains a little bit, and there's not a huge amount in Ireland that we have to look forward to. It's great now that we have more events from around the world coming in, so like Lunar New Year at the end of the month, and kind of now looking forward to the start of spring, but it still makes for a very long January, especially those first 3 weeks until you can start talking about spring and Lunar New Year. And it's a tricky time to fill out what you want to do curriculum wise as well.
Yeah, exactly. And trying to get the momentum back into the classroom is hard, isn't it? Trying to get people back into learning.
This is the break they've just come from is the longest one that they might have had so far in the year. So especially thinking of like your junior infants who are still kind of trying to adjust. Yeah. And now they've just come back from 2 weeks off, and it must be so hard for them to settle back into routine. Thinking of kids who rely on routine a lot, or who are very comforted by routine, and it's been all over the place for 2 weeks, and now they're trying to settle back into it. It's a tough couple of days for those kids. So
we were having a chat just before we came on about ways that like we as grown-ups, as teachers, as educators, could try and bring a little bit more grounding into the days, and then also like use it for the children in the classroom. Like, so even just like really simple things like easing into your day by putting your 2 feet flat in the ground and, you know, pressing them into the earth, hands down onto your lap, taking a few deep breaths in can really change your day, you know.
100%.
And even like if there's moments of stress or like high tension or anxiety in the room, again, just like, here, this is just something we do to ease back into something. So again, just getting the 2 feet on the ground, standing up, shaking out, even whatever it is.
If you can put in any amount of a walk into your work day, especially in the morning. I used to like putting a brand new playlist for January of just new music or music I haven't listened to in a while, and just kind of, I used to be able to walk to the school I taught in And so that nice walk in the morning really helped.
Okay.
Whereas before I would have been like, right, well, for maths I'm going to do this and English.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this half hour is just for me and my music.
Okay.
I love listening
great.
to music. If you like audiobooks or podcasts, that's like your commute time is your time. That's kind of so how I treated it.
Like a little pocket.
A little pocket of
wellness, of fun, of you time
for you.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you get in those doors, then you can start thinking about what you're doing for the day. You can start thinking about the kids. But walking into work, it's about your walk. It's your commute. Time for yourself.
Now that's thinking that like you've got everything organized from that Sunday night before. For people like me, I'd be like, what am I gonna do?
Oh no, trust me, I was 100% like, oh my god. Like a lot of times my days were written out on like post-it notes stuck to my desk. But it was more of a, I'm intentionally not going to think about this on my walk in, and then I'll go in, because normally once I'm in the classroom, I'm much more in a better headspace to think, oh well, I haven't done this part of the book yet, or I need to cover this.
Well, if you've had that time of like listening to music, having your me time, you actually can kind of give back a little bit more, and in a more fun and engaged way, because you've experienced a little bit of fun yourself. You've rested, switched off your brain, switched off your kind of like thinking head, planning ahead, and just kind of let go a little bit.
And I think it's really important for kids to get that time when they come into school as well, because we don't know what home life they're coming in from. They could be rushing out the door because they might have a lot of kids there, or they might be carpooling, they might have had a rushed morning, or their favorite cereal might not have been in the house, or you know, their favorite jumper wasn't washed, so they have to wear one they're not very keen on. So they're all coming from very different, and like you could have had a kid who had a perfect morning and like even had time to sit down and watch some TV or something. But trying to get them all to kind of settle once they come in, I used to do 15-20 minutes of ease in work. So it was really simple. Like it could have been like the class I had a lot of kids in extracurriculars, so when it came to homework, I knew a lot of them weren't really getting the time to do it the night before. And so I'd sent an email to the parents being like, look, we have 10-15 minutes in the morning. If they were at soccer, rugby, whatever it was, I'd much prefer that they were there rather than at home doing homework. So I used to give them those 10 minutes to kind of like, it was their mental maths so they could do it. And then I was also there to check in and see how they're getting on with it. Or, you know, some days it was a word search or a colouring sheet or a puzzle or a book, something that they can just kind of ease themselves into for the day. I used to type out like a choice board, so there was 9 different options of what they could do, and then depending on how they were feeling that day, because like there were some days they didn't feel like doing their maths when they got in, so they just needed 15 minutes of just doodling before they could switch on their school brain.
Gorgeous. And get them all kind of like in the same atmosphere together, whether they're working together or alone, they're just in the same space getting ready to like do the day together.
And the most popular option that I had for about a month was chess.
Wow.
I had about 3 chessboards in the room, and they would go mental for them. And they absolutely loved just sitting there in the morning, having a game of chess, and then easing into the day.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
I was chatting to this maths teacher before who couldn't get his, he was a primary school teacher, and he couldn't get his students to learn maths or engage in maths at all. So he set up a dart competition. And I think they were 5th or 6th class, and he had a dartboard, and they were just like within like 2 or 3 weeks they were like adding up in their head, not a bother. He just like got them really engaged in this competition, and had a tournament, and he was like, I'm just winning. I was like, yeah, you're winning.
Those are the best moments in teaching, where you think, I'm gonna give this a go, see if it works, and then it does. We had so much. There was a couple of moments like that, particularly with my class in Irish, where it was really hard to kind of really get them engaged. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try one of these days where the entire Irish lesson is just a role play of this restaurant, and they're going around, and it can be as ridiculous as they want. They can try and complain. I was like, you can complain about a fly in your soup or whatever, but it has to be in Irish. And they actually just loved that moment, just to play and to try. And every couple of minutes is, couldn't sit there into a shin, Oscar. Couldn't sit there.
Cool.
So it was a slightly older class. I think I was subbing with a 5th or on placement with a 5th, but it was that moment where I was like, yes, that actually worked.
I'm winning. I had a moment like that before. I was teaching teenagers, and there was some very, very challenging girls in the class, and one day I complimented one of them on her earrings, and I was like, at from the very moment that the class started, I had her, 'cause she was like, oh, she thinks I'm cool. I'm so cool. She wants to be me. I was like, and
Sure.
she was on my side for the rest of the class. I was like, here I am winning by complimenting a girl on her earrings. Okay, great. I don't know.
It can be the simplest thing with kids as well. That little tiny glimpse of I see you. And,
Yeah.
You know,
And do you know what? Maybe that's just what she needed, was just
Yeah.
like, I see you and I'm not going to give out to you. I'm on your side.
because I know like I'd be quite interested in video games. So obviously 3rd, 4th class was a brilliant age to be interested in video games and Pokemon. So like one of them, Pokemon cards were blanket banned in our school for a while. So it wasn't a put away your Pokemon cards. I was like, if I see that Pikachu on your desk again, I'm putting it on eBay. And it was even like, they were getting given out to, but they're like, hang on, teacher knows that this is a Pikachu. And the more obscure the Pokemon, the more they were like, hang on, how do you know what this is? Or even being able to explain things in terms of like, we were explaining area. And I was like, well, if you're building a Minecraft house and you wanted it 3 blocks up and 6 blocks across, how many blocks do you need to make? And they're like, oh, I'd need this many blocks.
Okay, cool.
And like those tiny little things were great for kind of just relationship building as well.
Trust.
Trust. And I definitely got a few cool points for knowing what Minecraft was and knowing some of the creatures in Minecraft.
Definitely.
Knew very little else about it. Definitely went home and was like to my friends who play, I was like, I need you to like teach me about this game. So they just bought it for me and they're like, just go play in it and you'll understand. And it's actually really fun.
Is it?
It is. The music is actually super relaxing.
I've actually played some in my yoga classes before.
I've done the same where they're doing like deer time or something. I stick it on the background. The kids who know it are like, that's Minecraft music.
Yeah.
But the ones who don't are like, this is nice. It's chill, very subtle, like just piano notes. It's really nice stuff to have on in the background.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So.
We were talking about journaling as well. Like some people love to journal, some people don't. But we were thinking it might be a lovely thing to do with a class. Definitely, like it actually doesn't matter what age the class group are, because you could easily just think about, okay, what do you love about today? What's going well today?
What's your like win of the day?
Yeah.
And it's a great one when you've got those 5-10 minutes at the end of the day. They're all packed up and you're kind of waiting for them to go, and you go, right guys, you know, what was your win of the day? What was the one thing you did today that made you really happy, or that kind of excited you, or you found interesting?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool to like have that like with almost like a kind of a class task where you could be like, okay, what won the day today? It was when we all got in our line really quickly, or when we all did something, could be something really, really small. We were all finished our lunch at the same time. Wasn't that great?
That was cool.
Yeah, and you could collect them up in a little box or something, couldn't you? Like
that'd be cool.
A win, and then win of the week.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end of the week might like be a nice incentive for January, just to kind of keep them focusing on like positive things, and you as a teacher too, like keep you focused on like things you're winning, things that are going good.
With my mainstream class, we did a January challenge, because January was a long month, and we decided then, because my classroom management part of it was done through Class Dojo, which is like they get points based on different things, and I had it so the kids could individually get them for, you know, the usual kind of not sitting at their desk. I never really forced that. It was, you know, if I caught them being really kind to someone, they'd get a point. Or if we'd kind of set up a goal and say, well, you know, what do you want to get done this week? Oh, I want to get this many in my spelling test. And if they do, it's like, you achieved your goal. But that goal some weeks was, I want to score a goal in my match this week.
Yeah.
So you check in. Did you score your goal? Cool. You get your point.
Great.
But the whole class could earn points as well. And my favorite one was caught being good. So if a teacher was kind of like, oh, you know, 3rd class, you're lined up very well, they'd all turn to me. We were caught being good. So we said we'd see how many points they got in January. And if they got 20 points, it was like something like a movie or 5 minutes extra golden time.
Great.
And like 50 points was like cozy day, and like 100 points was we had a playground around the corner, so we go to the playground with the other 3rd class.
Oh, how exciting.
So very exciting.
Cool. And that's also like, you know, really good for the teacher too, because you get a little bit more golden time, where you get a little bit more time with the other teachers.
You get some time out in the playground, and like they loved it. It was enclosed and you could just breathe. But it was a great way to kind of show as well, because I did like a countdown of how many days of school in January were left. I was like, for me, it was great to rub it off every day and be like, we've gotten through another day. We've 10 days left of our challenge now. And,
Okay. Lovely. So I love that really positive January challenge.
And it was like a gamified way. So like I did my teaching master's thesis on this idea of gamification, and it's such a great way to use, it's using elements of video games like that, like this challenge and reward, which a lot of people think it's gamification is this just points and reward, but it's also like timed and immediate feedback.
Yeah.
So like one of the things I used to do in the morning is like, okay, you need to give out your books, but you've only got 30 seconds. And they were like, oh, and they do it. And it's just the idea of, oh, well, now there's a timer. So this is immediately more fun.
Yes.
So
I totally get that. Like, I'm not mad into gaming, but if I have to like take something off, I'm like, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
like
like, oh, immediately satisfying. Like,
and this
that's
is where
done.
the win of the day can be great, because sometimes you could point it out to them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I think my win of the day today, guys, was actually you guys were really good walking in from yard, and we've been working on that for a while, so I was really happy about that. So that was my win of the day.
Yeah.
I was like, what was your win of the day? And then even when the kids all go home and you're sitting there in an empty classroom, think about what your win of the day was. Maybe it was they finally got this line stuff down. We were lined up and gone and they got their full break. Or it was, do you know, there was one child who, yes, they might have been disruptive today, but we got them in the door. And
yes.
That's a struggle some days. And, or now, you know, it's kind of about phrasing it like, so-and-so only did 2 of his maths questions. But my God, they did 2 of their maths questions, and I would have been happy with 1 of them being done. So it's all about kind of thinking what went right, because we're so quick to think about what went wrong. Going, oh God, well, I didn't cover this today and didn't cover this. It's like, well, maybe you didn't cover this because they were really engaged in their maths lessons. That's why you didn't have enough time in your Irish lesson to cover this. And that kind of reframing can be really helpful as well.
Really helpful, and take a lot of pressure off you as well as a teacher.
You know, can only do the best you can with what
literally just do your best for January. Get through the month.
Survive January.
My birthday is at the end of January.
Lovely.
And it's like, I know my friend is actually due a baby at the end of January, and I was like, look, it's a great time to have a birthday for many reasons, because everybody is like, you know, they're broke in January. They don't want to go out, they don't want to do this, that and the other. And then it gets to the end of the month and they're all reaching payday.
Paychecks are in.
They're ready to go out again, to venture out from their little cocoon.
Dry January is over.
Dry January it's nearly over. And then it's like, right, where's the party? And when's the birthday party? And what are we doing? And
brilliant.
It was, and it's also Temple Bar Music Festival. Tradfest is on around then too. So that's really good fun. So when I lived in Dublin City, it was like, there was something on every single night, and it was great, obviously. Brilliant. Before being a parent, when I had a bit more time with hands. So I suppose, like, just to sum up, like, definitely easing in, making a bit of time for yourself, not putting yourself under too much pressure, like personally, and then also in work, just taking those little wins, you know, winning the day, something really small. Maybe it was you finished your coffee when it was warm. Like,
imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I actually got a really nice coffee cup for Christmas, and I'm like, this is the one.
This is the one that's going to keep it warm.
Yeah, it's going to keep it warm. If I can just mind it for long enough,
brilliant.
It'll keep my coffee warm, hopefully. So anything else to add?
Not that I can think of.
No, it's
January ends eventually, and it is, you know, we do kind of dread going into it because of this. It's a break from routine we've had, but it's a great time to try establish new little bits of routine as well, kind of to try new things out, particularly with a class where you can say, well, guys, you know, we're into a new year now, why don't we try putting our desks in a different shape, or why don't we try putting our coats away at this time, or trying like these little new things,
new habits
you definitely thought of during Christmas when you were trying really hard not to think about work. But you woke up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night going, oh my God, they could put all their bottles in this box. Which definitely has happened. But it's a great time of year to try these new things, and again, like reframing it, like, yes, January's long and it's cold, but it's still, you know, there's still a lot to enjoy about it. It's like newness and like this easing in and gratitude. And I think this whole idea of New Year's resolutions is a great time to start thinking about change and little things you might want to bring into your year. And it like that, it doesn't have to be run a marathon by June. It can be get out walking for 10 minutes by May.
Exactly. And bringing that movement into the classroom as well is always good for the movement breaks, or they're freezing cold, just shake out the body, do a bit of grounding, bit of dancing, turn on some music,
bit of a stretch every morning did wonders for us.
Okay, deadly.
Like we did a morning meeting, so like we'd start off with a bit of a stretch and then we'd go through what was going to happen in the classroom that day. We're starting off with maths and then we're doing Irish and then it's break time, and because we had a lot of visual timetables on the wall, and it was the kind of room where the routine was very, very important. So it was a great way to prepare them for, look here, we normally have English here, but we're actually going here today, or this person's coming in. So a morning meeting would be,
that is
if you haven't
gorgeous.
Already introduced it. It was a tip I got on placement once and brought it in every single classroom I went into then.
That's gorgeous. And especially it takes away that question of like, teacher, what are we doing next?
What's next? When are we doing? Well, you'd still would get, okay, well, I see we've done English and I know we're supposed to be doing handwriting now, so chop.
You always have that one, right? that one kid.
Well, we normally do music on a Monday. Where is our music tab?
Yes, we're waiting for a DABBLEDOO.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have what's just moving back to DABBLEDOO. What's new at DABBLEDOO for January?
Well, very exciting. We have a couple of new lessons in our free trial for art. So now you can get a free trial for all 8 years of art in DABBLEDOO. So junior infant seniors, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th.
Oh my gosh.
And 6th all have their own courses for the free trial. So it's a little sneak peek of the next 4 courses that will be released in September.
That is so exciting.
So exciting.
That's brilliant. It's a big new thing at DABBLEDOO.
Super excited to see what everyone thinks of it, because I think some of the lessons I really enjoyed writing. So I'm really hoping that the kids enjoy doing them. So
brilliant.
Any feedback would be totally welcome.
Okay, great. We have no questions because it was Christmas.
You've all been enjoying yourselves.
I hope you've all been enjoying yourselves too much, and it's time to just not put any pressure on yourself. Just ease back into January. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Ease into 2025. Keep reminding myself 2025.
Halfway through the 2020s.
Yeah, Sheeny Mac.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and Happy New Year.
Bye.